Hey there, everyone. Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Hope you're doing well today. Oh, man, we have all kinds of issues here on the stream. Of course, that's how it goes the first day back. Let's update that. Let's do this. Ray Flowers returns from vacation. And, of course, there's a minor technical issue. But don't worry, folks. We got you. We're good to go here on the show. Again, I'm Ray Flowers of FantasyGuru.com. Thanks for sticking with us in the week I was gone. I'm obviously back today here, returned from vacation, ready to rock and roll, to do the show, to talk to y'all, to have some fun here on Fantasy Sports Daily. As you can see behind me, woo, tiki bar. Had a good vacation. It's always nice to get away. It's always not nice to come back. But at least, hey, we're talking sports. I would say I'm in my slippers, but I actually have tennis shoes on right now. But you get the point. I'm wearing a sweatshirt, tennis shoes, talking baseball with you all here. Life could be a hell of a lot worse. But yeah, good vacation. Hit up a couple of tiki bars. As you can see, one of them there right on the ocean here on the Pacific Coast. Spent some time in the forest, did some hiking, saw some whales, did some whale watching, went to a museum, aquarium, all that kind of stuff. So drove up and down Highway 1 on the coast a little bit. So it was nice. Nothing grand, but a nice time away. Now that I'm back, let's get to it. Before we throw up on the screen what we're doing today, remember this is Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FantasyGuru.com. Let's see if I can remember the spots. Number one, you can watch the show live, leave comments and questions as we're doing the show at three places: youtube.com/@ElitePlusNetwork, facebook.com/FantasyGuruHQ, and on Twitter X @FantasyGuruSite. That I did remember. You can always go to FantasyGuru.com, click the Elite Plus tab at the top of the page as well. That'll show you or lead you to this show in podcast form. And speaking of podcasts, you can always type in Fantasy Sports Daily to your podcast network and find the show there. We're here Monday through Friday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We're back to rocking and rolling here. I took my first vacation in 6 years, as I've referenced here. Expect to see me here Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday moving forward, as we've done for the last year and a half. Justin Fenchman hosting on Wednesdays. On Wednesdays, I'm with Jeff Manns over on SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio on the Elite Sports Show. That show is 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I'm here 4 days a week. I'm with Jeff on Wednesdays on SiriusXM. Just a quick programming note before we get to the show here. I will have the rankings updated today at FantasyGuru.com. I appreciate some folks' enthusiasm. I've had multiple people ask me, are the rankings updated? Got home from my vacation yesterday. I was getting questions at 7 o'clock this morning. Got to look at the clock and the schedule, folks. I mean, I'm not a robot, okay? Yes, I was paying attention while I was on vacation. Unfortunately, yes, I was doing about an hour of work every day while on vacation, which is not ideal. But there's just no way to just skip it, right? Because if I did, I'd take 3 days to catch up. So started the rankings yesterday when I got home. They are not done, clearly. Hope people understand that. They will be up today as promised on August 4th. So check those out later today at FantasyGuru.com. What are we talking about today? Let's throw it up on the screen here. We're talking some baseball news here at the start of the show. Injuries. I mean, I went away and I come back and it's still a lot of injuries. So we'll talk about injuries on the hill, on the field. Big name players, Jackson Chourio, Austin Riley, Jacob Misiorwski. We'll talk about those guys, who the replacements might be. Are there anyone of note? Is there anyone of note? I guess is a better way to say it. Excuse me there. So we'll look into that. We'll also do, because it's a Monday, this is the only day for those of you that are new to the show. This is the only day all week that we don't have a guest. And it's the only day of the week where we talk just baseball. We're going to have to change that up here. Obviously, when September starts, we'll have to do football on Mondays. Duh. But for now, it's the only day of the week through the month of August where we talk just baseball. Those are Mondays. Usually I review the news and notes of the weekend, as we're doing today. And then talk a little bit about the waiver wire in my 3 leagues, not because any of you care about my 3 leagues, but because it's a good way to look at who's picking up whom, what their interest level is, all that kind of stuff. So we'll do that here moving forward. As you can see there, you can send it up to support at FantasyGuru.com, support at FantasyGuru.com. I didn't check this morning. I don't think the number's been adjusted on the website, but you can get an even greater discount for the baseball product. Should be $50 the rest of the season. So $50 the rest of the way. Send a note to support at FantasyGuru.com. Support at FantasyGuru.com. Say, I'd love to get the baseball product the rest of the way. Betting, DFS, seasonal, all 3 pieces for $50 the rest of the way. Tell Ted that I sent you over there and that you'd like to get that package. The football package is obviously up and available. Continually updated. We've got, I think, 16 of our podcasts in that Fit 20 podcast series. 16 of them posted at the website right now. I think I did 4 or 5 of them, a couple of them still coming up here. We've got PPR rankings, non-PPR rankings, dynasty rankings, rookie rankings, best ball rankings, IDP rankings. There's a lot of rankings. There's the Manifesto that's up, your draft plan. The auction stuff is up. Justin Fenchman and I worked on the auction draft information. So there's a series of articles there, 4 articles for those of you doing auction. So that's available. We've got the best ball guide inside the draft guide. We've got the auction guide that we were just talking about inside the draft guide. We've got the rookie information inside the draft guide. We've got the IDP information inside the draft guide. So check it out over at fantasyguru.com. From now through the end of the season, I don't think a day is going to go by where we're not going to have at least one, if not multiple articles. Remember, like I just said, it's all season long. So you sign up now, we get you coverage throughout the entirety of the season. Okay, let's dive into some news and notes. What's going on in the world of baseball, which of course, because I did miss some time, I did forget to transfer that information over so that I can read along with what I'm doing here. So let's do that now because I'm a doofus. Boom, here we go. Let me scroll up. Tough on a Monday here, early in the morning. Jacob Misiorwski, who we talked about earlier, has been placed upon the injured list with a left tibia contusion. They obviously took their time, did the Brewers here. The injury occurred when he was pitching, and then they waited 4 days, 5 days, whatever it was, to put him on the injured list. We're hearing that it's probable that he's only going to miss 2 starts. As we've discussed with so many of these guys, again, I left, I come back, it's the same storyline. So many of these youngsters, including guys like Misiorwski, they're pushing up against their innings pitch limits or ceilings already. And by that, I mean they're already hitting previously hit marks for innings pitch counts, that kind of stuff. Teams the Brewers in particular, are surging right now, right? So they don't technically need, quote unquote, Misiorwski for a couple of starts. So the hope is that they'll be down a couple of starts for him. They called up Logan Henderson, who pitched yesterday. Henderson, who pitched so well early in the season. There are a lot of concerns about his workload too, which is why he was sent down after his strong start. I spent some time thinking about this when I was walking in the Redwood Forest over the past week, and I don't think there's a good answer. I think there are answers to how to handle this better, but we've discussed those previously on the show, and that includes teams backing off workload with guys in terms of the volume that they throw. I don't think that's a real good answer because that's, again, that's what teams do. I don't know if that's the right answer. I think the answer, as we've discussed, is not throwing every pitch 98 miles an hour, not throwing every slider at 100%, those kind of things. But teams don't seem willing to do that. So we're going to have teams just mixing and matching. Bullpen games, tandem starting games, elite level pitchers, guys that are rolling, getting shut down. How injured is Misiorwski? I'm not saying he's not hurt. He got hit. Got that issue on his leg. I've had a bone bruise before. I'm not saying he has a bone bruise because they didn't say that. They said it was a contusion. But I've had balls hit off my leg and stuff. It hurts. So I'm not saying it's not an issue. But is this more of, well, your leg's just not 100%, kid? So let's skip a couple of starts to save your arm. Might be some of that, which would be good news for those that have Misiorwski. Logan Henderson, again, he's the short-term guy. Hopefully you didn't spend a lot of FAAB on him yesterday or waiver priority to add him because it's still tough to envision him starting long-term here for the Brewers. Don't forget, I'm pulling this up as I'm talking to make sure I'm not. Yeah, so they did trade away Nestor Cortez. He's now with the Padres. So that opens things up a little bit here for the Brewers. But if you look at that Brewers rotation, it's very unlikely that we're going to see Misiorwski and Henderson both in that rotation moving forward. They've got Peralta, Quintana, Woodruff, Priester, and then either Misiorwski or Henderson. So Henderson, big arm, we know what to expect there, just not likely to stick in that rotation long term. As big an issue, maybe a bigger issue actually, I should say, is Jackson Chourio. He's got that hamstring issue. And Chourio hurt his hamstring. He got a PRP injection. They're hopeful that he'll start to do some things today. At the same time, there is no timeline for Chourio and his return to action. The speculation at this point is 4 to 6 weeks. We only got 7 weeks left in the season, 8 weeks left in the season. 8 weeks left in the season? Yeah, 8 weeks left in the season. Learn how to count, right? So we could be looking at Chourio missing 2/3, 3/4 of the rest of the season. So that's, and again, with the way the Brewers are playing, the success they're having, their record, their place in the standings, this is not a team that has to rush back Chourio. Maybe over the next, 4 weeks they go 8-18, Oh, God, now we got to get him back. But right now they're rolling. They've got the most victories in baseball. How aggressive are they going to be? We will see. What does the team do now? Obviously, we've seen Isaac Collins and Blake Perkins both step up. We'll see Blake Perkins' name mentioned frequently when we look at the FAAB stuff here in a moment. Perkins is the guy. Again, I think Collins is in the lineup right now because don't forget this team is also without Garrett Mitchell. They're also missing Sal Frelick, who's dealing with a little bit of an issue with his leg too. He's hopeful of being able to play through that. At least that's the expectation at this point. We'll see. But right now, Blake Perkins is the significant winner. Since we're going to talk about him later, let's talk about him now. Perkins is 29 years old. He's not a young guy. I don't think at any point in time he was a whiz-bang prospect. But if you look at his work through 650 plate appearances, you got 12 home runs, 30 steals, and you got a league average on base percentage. So he is somebody that right now is performing pretty well, can steal a base. Blake Perkins is going to be part of our lives as well. Yeah. Angela says Brewers are smashing opponents. McGill hasn't pitched in 728. Yeah, they are smashing opponents. I went away and the Brewers decided to become the best team in baseball. Who knew? All right, next up here as we go through the injured situation, Jonathan Aranda, who, I have to check my teams here. What league do I have Jonathan Aranda? I think it's the FSGA league. Jonathan Aranda. I'll find this in a second. I guess it's the FSGA league. It's the Labor League. Jonathan Aranda, where are you, Jonathan Aranda? Yeah. My Labor team, which we'll talk about in a bit here when we go through the FAAB, by the way. So just so you all know, I feel your pain. On the hill, I have David Festa and Bryce Miller on the injured list. On the offensive side of things, this is my Labor team. Gary Sanchez, who I picked up when Gabriel Moreno got hurt. So now I'm rolling with Adrian Del Castillo and Kyle Teal at catcher. But anyway, so I got two catchers on the injured list. I've got Garrett Mitchell, we just talked about on the injured list. Max Muncy, who hopes to return today or tomorrow for the Dodgers, he's on the injured list. Tristan Casas is done for the season, though there's some hope. I guess he could return late in the year. Yeah, we saw a report about that today. But Chris Bryant's done for the season, probably. Evan Carter went back on the injured list with his back issue. Jonathan Aranda, who we'll talk about in a second, and Ronald Acuna. Fun. Yeah, somehow I'm in fourth place in that league. But Jonathan Aranda's got the wrist issue. For those of you that didn't see the play, he caught a ball or tried to catch a ball that was up the baseline. Caminero kind of bobbled it, trying to get a grip, and then threw the ball into the runner. So he got hit. Aranda did at first base with the runner running down the baseline, jammed his wrist up. In fact, he had a fracture that they determined through testing after that Giancarlo Stanton situation. So for 3 weeks, he's not going to do anything. The team is hopeful that he'll be back this season. Again, remember, we got about 8 weeks left here, 7-8 weeks. And, you take 3 or 4 weeks of doing nothing. Then you take 3 or 4 weeks of rehab, maybe 2 or 3 weeks of rehab. And we're, again, 10 days left in the season kind of stuff. So obviously, Aranda has been fantastic. He's lived up to and surpassed all possible expectations. He's got an 870 OPS and 316. Power a little bit lower than I was anticipating in others. 12 home runs is kind of, but he's hitting 316. So no one is complaining. He's been terrific, and he's basically solidified himself as the first baseman for that Tampa Rays team, but he's going to miss potentially a month and a half, something like that. We'll see if that's even reasonable at this time. Austin Riley went on the 10-day injured list with that strained abdominal muscle. He was on the IL with a strained abdominal muscle a couple of weeks ago. This, the Braves situation obviously has gone in the wrong direction. They are currently in fourth place in the NL East. They are not going to make the playoffs. And we start getting into a zone where, a guy like Austin Riley, I don't know if it's a reoccurrence, but it sort of seems that way for Austin Riley. We get to a zone where is he going to play again this season? And so that's really disappointing. Obviously, they didn't trade Marcelo Ozuna like they expected, or many expected. But Riley being down to significant loss in the fantasy space. Luke Williams and Nacho Alvarez likely to take over. That doesn't help anybody out in the fantasy space. Obviously, if you lost Riley, those pivots don't work. So maybe you pick up a Kobe Mayo to play your corner infield spot. If you're looking for a third base option, remember those rankings will be updated later today at fantasyguru.com. Hopefully that'll help you out as you head to the waiver wire. But that's a significant loss for the Braves, significant loss for you, and there's no in-house step into his spot, Austin Riley with the Braves. Speaking of guys dealing with injury, Marcelo Mayer's got a wrist issue. We heard over the weekend it might require season-ending surgery. Right now, he received an anti-inflammatory injection, probably a cortisone shot. I didn't see that officially, but that's probably what it was. He'll need 72 hours of rest. You don't do anything. I've talked about my shoulder. I had a cortisone shot recently. You don't do anything for a couple of days, and then you start working around. My cortisone shot really helped. Now, again, helped me to type in a keyboard and do exercises. Didn't help me play professional sport. So we'll see how this goes with Mayer. They're going to shut him down for 3 days. Wednesday, they'll ramp things up and see. But remember, the specter of him missing the rest of the season is out there. I don't think Marcelo Mayer's been, whiz bang fantastic, anything like that. But obviously, he is somebody that I think the majority of people are starting if you have him. We'll continue to monitor that situation very closely to see, whether or not he's able to return to the fold or not for the Red Sox. The Red Sox, at least for their benefit, they've been getting great work recently from Trevor Story. They've got Cedano Rafaela, who they can move to second base. The outfield then could be Roman Anthony, Jarren Duran, and Wally Abreu with Masataka Yoshida at DH. So with Yoshida back, they have the ability to massage and manage their way through this. David Hamilton's hanging around, Romy Gonzalez, those guys too. So the Red Sox are okay. Do you want to go out and grab a Yoshida who's likely DH only? Obviously, Rafael is already added. Trevor Story's already added. So again, this is another one of those scenarios where there's not probably a direction you can go if you lost Mayer and you're looking for a replacement. Spencer Arrighetti, let's talk some pitchers, is set to return from his thumb injury tomorrow or Wednesday, excuse me. So next couple of days, he'll be back out there for the Astros. Remember, Arrighetti's a guy that, he's a back-end rotation starter. He is somebody that can have value in the fantasy space. He's missed about 4 months almost with that right thumb issue. That's a long time. So arm should be fresh, but where is he at? He'll go back into that rotation for the Astros. He can give you a strikeout an inning for sure. There have been some issues at times with control. The ratios aren't exactly sparkling. So, again, against the white hot Marlins, I don't know if you want to roll him out there. In fact, I wouldn't recommend rolling him out there this week, but we should see him in the next couple of days and get a better sense heading into the weekend whether or not he might be an option for everyone out there. Let me make a note of something here. I got a bunch of notes I made for the time I was away. So hopefully I don't leave anyone out of the rankings today. Okay. Jack Perkins, I had, and I would encourage people, and I know it's not fun to do this, but I had multiple people. I popped in, when was it? The day after, Thursday, the day after, or Friday, maybe it was Thursday morning, right after the trade deadline was going on. And I was in the chat room over at fantasyguru.com, kind of between things on the trip. And I answered multiple times to people, hey, Ray, who do you think the closer of the A's is? I don't know who the closer of the A's is. I said Newcomb and Kelly were my options. A lot of people were hoping, planning, expecting Jack Perkins. I repeatedly said, no, Newcomb, Kelly. Perkins then gets moved into the rotation by the Athletics. And I saw someone else in Discord say, Ray, who's the closer now for the Athletics? Because I thought it was going to be Perkins. Point of this being, I know it's not fun, but you can always scroll up and look at. I would really encourage people to do this too in Discord. Scroll up and look, because oftentimes I answer a question, and if you're not scrolling up, what happened is I answered this question a couple hours before this person asked. I didn't see this question because I then went away. Right, the answer was there in Discord, but I don't think it was seen. So make sure you scroll through Discord. You can always go to the top, top right corner there, and type in my name and see my responses. So you can type in Ray Flowers and you can click, what did Ray post, and see what I've said there about that. Anyway, Jack Perkins is going into the rotation, even though he got a save the other day. Obviously, Mason Miller is now with the Padres. Who is the closer for the Athletics? I don't know. Again, Newcomb and Kelly. I'm slightly favoring Newcomb. It's probably going to be mix and match. Newcomb's a lefty. It's one of those things. It's the A's. Who knows what the hell they're doing anyway. But Perkins goes into the rotation. Perkins is somebody that, has strikeout potential. So there's certainly interest there. And I think in a lot of leagues, and we'll see that in a few moments, there's movement with Jack Perkins. He could make an impact here over the last 2 months of the season. He needs to control the strike zone. And if he does that, he can have some success. So Kind of Jack Perkins. I would say similar outlook to Spencer Arrighetti. If I had to just randomly throw something out there that I hadn't planned on saying, I think it's similar. And again, we'll have these guys in the rankings. Make a note here. Make sure I have Perkins in the rankings. Yep, I do. See, already had the note down. Ray, I'm so good over at fantasyguru.com. I just chucked my pen on the floor. Oh, well. Emmet Sheehan moves into the Dodgers rotation. Ray, how does Emmet Sheehan move into the Dodgers rotation with Glasnow and Snell back? Well, glad you asked, listener. They're going to a 6-man rotation right now, are the Dodgers. So it'll be Yamamoto pitch yesterday, Glasnow today, Sheehan will pitch on Tuesday, Ohtani Wednesday, then Kershaw, Snell. So Sheehan's in the rotation for now. Remember, Sheehan himself is coming back from surgery. It's unclear how many bullets he's going to have in the old gun here. He'll get a chance to make his hay every 6 days for the Dodgers, who will continue to mix and match and try to figure things out. Nothing wrong with picking up Sheehan for spot starts. And again, he's looking at a start tomorrow for those Dodgers. Spencer Strider is going to make his next start on Wednesday. He was supposed to start on Saturday, but weather got in his way there, so the Braves just backed him up. Again, Braves have nothing to play for. Strider coming back from surgery and injury. He went through a full warm-up for the game, so they just said, hey, we're just going to back this guy off. So he's going to start Wednesday against the Brewers. So just a little bit of a housekeeping there for the Braves, who will go with Eric Fede today and Joey Wentz tomorrow. I was noticing at the start of the season, all 5 guys that were in the Braves rotation, because remember, Strider started the season a couple weeks late. All 5 of the guys that are in the starting rotation for the Braves were on the 60-day injured list. Are we having fun yet? We are not. Okay, so that's the review there. Remember, we're here every day, Monday through Friday, for Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com. I'm here with you Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. You can see multiple podcasts I have dropping. Some have already been out. Some will be coming in the draft guide over at fantasyguru.com. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner of the old football product. And then again, I'm with Jeff Manns on Wednesdays, and his show is Monday through Friday on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On Mondays, we talk about the waiver wire in multiple leagues that I'm in, not because you care about my league again, but because it kind of gives you a sense of how the experts in the old universe are viewing these players. I am, again, in 4th place in this league. Right now, Mr. Bloomfield of Baseball HQ is in 1st, Rudy Gamble, Fred Zinke, and then myself. This is the team. 4th place is a pretty good situation when I've Aranda, Acuna, Bryant, Carter, Casas, Mitchell, Moreno, Muncy, Sanchez, Festa, and Miller on the injured list. I had a couple of moves to make there, and you can see why, because I lost Jonathan Aranda this past week. I lost Ronald Acuna this past week here. So needed to make a couple of moves. So let's start out with my guys in red there. CJ Kafis and Tyler Locklear. Locklear goes into my UT spot. Kafis goes into my corner infield spot. Let's go. My first baseman is Nolan Shanuel. Yeah, it's actually been decent, Nolan Shanuel. About what we expected with him. But the 2 youngsters here, Locklear with the ability to steal some bases. That's not a situation that Kafis finds himself in. Both these guys should play on a consistent basis. I think Kafis's bat is a little bit more pronounced, which is why I went $1 extra there for him versus the $2 for Locklear. Really interesting, as you can see there on the screen, no one else bid $1 on either one of those guys, which I'm kind of surprised by. Normally, the situations, as you, I'm sure, deal with in all your leagues, when a young player comes up and they're given the opportunity to play full-time, folks get really interested, right? Like, it's one of those scenarios where they say to themselves, well, hell, this guy's available right now, and it's time and good to go. I'm sorry, I'm doing something here. It's time, good to go. Let's get this guy active, and we'll spend twice as much money for him than we will on a veteran because there's the potential there. Didn't happen this week. And again, that's fine. I had needs. I'm fine spending those $3 and $2 on those 2 players. If you look at this list here, Kobe Mayo, who we'll see in another league that I personally added him. Kobe Mayo was added for $4 here, and there were a lot of failed bids for Mayo, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3. So right in that same zone for Kafis and Locklear. Obviously, everyone identified Mayo as a guy they'd rather have. I don't disagree with that. Again, we'll see why in a few minutes here. I just, in this league too, this is the league, I think I'm down to, waiver wire. Let's see if I can go here and tell me. Yeah, here we go. So I am down in this league where you have $100 to spend in this traditional 5x5 roto setup. I'm down to $11. You cannot add a player in this league for no money. You have to spend at least $1 to add a player. We got 8 weeks left. I got $11. So I'm basically down to $1 a week. So this was kind of my last big push here. We'll see how it goes. Again, I don't expect to win this league by any stretch. And in fact, looking at the waivers, there's only one team that has less money than me. The Prospect 361 team's got $8. So Warming Barnabell, who I saw mentioned earlier in the chat room there by Angelo, went for $24. Rudy Gamble, how many? Now, again, Rudy Gamble's got, where is he at? Where you at, Rudy? Rudy's got $30 left. Rudy's in second place in this league, so he's obviously going for it. Wow. As you can see there, 1-5-1-1-5. He has been absolutely on fire. He has been insanely good for the Rockies. 14 for 32, 3 home runs, 8 RBIs. That's a .438 average and a 1.361 OPS. Now, logically, we all know that's the best 8 games he's ever going to have in his career. Okay, he's playing for Colorado. He's going to play every day. That's nice. That's great. Would I have spent that much if I had it? No way. No way. I mean, you could have gotten Mayo, Kafis, and Locklear for $9. That's roughly a third of the price for just Bernabel. Wow. And as you can see there was a couple other people in at that $5 zone, which was, again, even more than the other 3 guys, but just too much there. Again, Bernabel he's going to play every day, and he plays in Colorado. There's nothing wrong with that. Warming Bernabel. What a name, too, by the way. 23-year-old. I don't even think he was inside the top 10 prospects for this team, the Rockies. He's a power over hit guy. If you look at his work at the minor league level this season, let's pull it up. Hitting 300 with 8 home runs and 5 steals. Doesn't strike out much, which is great. His 12% strikeout rate at the AAA. So he's going to put the ball in play. Nice offensive game. But that, to me, is an overspend relative to the others that were available at the similar corner infield position there. Jacob Marcelo went for $8 to Dr. Roto. A couple of failed bids there at the $5 mark. Everyone's kind of in that same zone. Again, we're kind of getting down to it right now. Marcy is an outfielder for the Marlins, obviously, with Jesus Sanchez out. Marcy is the guy that's going to step up and likely play on a consistent basis. The reason he was bid on aggressively, 14 home runs, 47 steals in 100 games at AAA. So, he's a 15 home run kind of guy, but he can motor. And, he had 46 steals 2 years ago. Last year, he had 51 steals. This year, he's got 47 steals. So, again, I have $11 left. I couldn't get involved at that level. I didn't even throw a bid out there because, again, I can't spend $5 on a player, and I figured he'd go for more than that. So $8 to Dr. Roto, making that power move for the outfielder of the Marlins who should steal bases. Let me make a note on that. I don't think I have him on my list. We're doing this together, folks. How does that go? Jacob Marcy. Who do you need for speed? Who do I look to for speed rate? Jacob Marcy, outfielder of the Marlins. Michael Kelly went for $4 to Dr. Roto. Jojo Romero went for $4 to Mr. Bloomfield. Failed bids there, 222. 111. Romero was said to be it's fair to look at Romero and say he's the number 1 closing option for the Cardinals. We also heard from the team directly, he's our only really trusty lefty. In fact, is he the only lefty in the bullpen right now? Let me pull this up. He's our only trustworthy reliever for the Seattle club that's left-handed. And if you look at their team, right now with Zach Thompson and John King out, Romero is legitimately their only left-handed reliever. He'll get save opportunities, but is he distancing himself from O'Brien and Leahy because of that lefty-righty thing? Probably not. So $4, totally fine to go $4 out of 100 on him. And you can see a lot of people are in there, but is he going to be the everyday guy? I don't think so. Keegan Aiken for $3. That's cool. JT Ginn for $3. We're playing matchups here. Cole Sands for $3. Cole Sands could be the closer for the Twins. Obviously, Minnesota's without Duran now. They sent him out of town. Griffin Jacks was sent out of town. Cole Sands is probably in the mix here with a bunch of other guys, but he would be my choice at the moment. So that's a good addition there at that $3 price point. Blake Perkins, that we talked about earlier, went for $2. Peguero went for $2. He was traded. Corbin Martin for $2. Phil bid on him for $1. Jose Ferreira. He's probably the closer now for the Nationals, so $2 for him. That's a pretty good price point. And then $1 for Ronnie Mauricio. That's a good addition at $1. Multi-position guy. Obviously, not necessarily playing every day for the Mets, but a good offensive game without question. Next league we're going to is the FSGA. This is a 14-team mixed league. This is the league, the only one I'm in that we talk about here on Mondays, where there's open waiver wires on Monday. So after the waiver runs, the waiver wire is open for 3 hours in the morning. You can add players for no dollars. So that's always a benefit. 4th place in LABR, 4th place in the FSGA league, $1,000 to spend of this budget. In this league, let's look at the waiver wire. I'm even lower in this league. Remember in that last league, I had 11% of my budget left to spend. In this league, I have 7% of my budget left to spend. Not gone great. Evan Carter's out. Hunter Dobbins is out. Tanner Houck is out. Justin Martinez is out. AJ Puck is out. Gabriel Moreno is out. Bryce Miller is out. Parker Meadows is out. Yeah. Not great stuff here. Anyway, as you can see there, I added Kobe Mayer for $12. And this is a league where I'm shocked. No one else bid $1 for Kobe Mayo. And, Kobe Mayo is going to play every day now. You got to figure for the Orioles with Ryan O'Hearn out of town. He probably qualifies at third base. Coming into the season, he should have. He's played 29 games at first base, so he's dual position eligible at the corner infield spots. He's picked his game up here a little bit of late. His last 11 games, a couple of home runs, 5 RBIs, 5 runs scored. An elite level prospect. His power stroke is as good and as impressive as any young hitter in baseball. Can he find his groove at the big league level? All that. It looks like we're going to finally get him the chance to do that. The Orioles have had him around and not really played him every day. They have no excuse anymore. Let him play down the stretch. Let's go. So Kobe Mayo for me, I fantastic. I was really thinking, there's no way in hell I'm going to get this guy. Got him for $12. So very pleased with that. Bernabell here again. He went for 186. It just shows you that the recency bias thing is real, right? At least in my opinion. Again, we discussed a lot to like with Bernabell, but yeesh, it's a 19% here, 24% in the last league, 25%. As you can see, there are a bunch of other failed bids. No one else went over 55, though. So that winning bid by RT Sports was triple what the universe said in the room there. Randy Rodriguez, the new closer of the Giants, $118. Pretty aggressive bidding there with the next highest being 88 and then 71. Again, I can't bid on these guys. I don't have any money. Randy Rodriguez is the last man standing. Tyler Rogers, obviously, out of town. Camilo Duvall out of town. Ryan Walker's been much better of late. And there's always a chance he sneaks back into the 9th inning. But Rodriguez made the all-star team. He's obviously been the Giants' best reliever from start to finish. And he'll get a chance to work the 9th inning there for the team. Adam Ronas gets him for 118. Dr. Roto gets Marcy here for 95. The next highest bid was 62, though there's another bid at 51. We talked about Marcy and the ability for him to make a difference on the base pass. Kyle Fokker goes to $62, failed bid of $10. Fokker or Faucher, I always say his name wrong. I always think of Fokker, Meet the Fockers, right? That's the Ben Stiller movie with Robert De Niro. Who's the closer in Miami? Is it him? Is it Ronnie H? Both. I think they're kind of splitting it, right? But both guys pitching pretty well. Fokker is pitching a little bit better of late. And he's been the guy that's been called upon. I think he might have had 3 of the last 4 saves for this team. Let's pull it up. He's got the last 2 saves. Henriquez has got 2 holds his last 5 outings. Falker's got 2 saves. So it does look like Falker's slightly ahead of Henriquez, though I think both guys are still involved there. Tyler Locklear went 57 here. Failed bid. Next highest up was 51. So pretty strong bidding there. I remember I got him for $3 in the previous 3%. There's a 5% bid here. We talked about Locklear and his potential. Romero goes for 56 here. Failed bids of 51 and 42, so some close bidding there. Blake Perkins, $51. Next highest, $45. Fantasy Sherpa got Charlie Morton for 38. Is Morton somebody that we should be counting on? No. But Detroit added him and Paddock, and, Morton has been much better here of late. Let's pull his numbers up real quickly. Let's see. Morton, if I learn how to type. He's been much better here of late. His last 5 starts. Actually, he hasn't been much better of late. His last 5 starts, the ERA is 4.5. Now, his last 4 starts, he's got 3 victories with a 3.7 ERA. The whip is still sitting around 1.4, 1.5. I don't know how much that changes. We're still getting about a strikeout an inning, though. He should pitch for a much better team in Detroit. for now, he's a streaming option. So yeah, $38 there for him. I think that was the price point, right? Yeah, $38. Failed bid for $4. Someone else threw a little challenge there. It obviously didn't work out. Jake Perkins went for 19. We talked about Perkins moving into the rotation for the Athletics. Loperfido, one of those bids was me there. The failed bids of 4 and 5. Adam Ronas gets him for 18. Loperfido has been really good of late, and I'm sure if any of you looked at the rankings or the free agent page this weekend while you're looking at the players to add, you could see the last couple of weeks. Well, look at these numbers. The last 4 weeks, 375 with a 967 OPS. Whew. Now, he's got holes in his game. Strikeouts have been a legitimate concern for Loperfido since his time with the the Astros. He really hasn't settled in. Now he's starting to do his best to settle in here with the Blue Jays. Obviously, the Blue Jays have 2 guys out right now. We've got the concussion issue. It's got Springer on the shelf, and then Santander's coming back from that shoulder injury. Springer hopefully is back this week. Santander, we're still waiting on an official update with him. But when those 2 guys are back, they're both obviously back in the starting lineup. So Loperfido is going to really have to hit here because the Blue Jays also added Ty France. They've got David Schneider hanging around, Miles Straw hanging around. So they've got these other weapons here. Andres Jimenez, who's got the sprained ankle, he'll be back at some point. So for now, Loperfido's in the lineup. Let me verify this. I think he's been hitting second the last couple of games too, which is really intriguing. Click on the right thing. He's hit first or second in 3 of his last 4 starts. So if he's hitting first or second for this team against right-handed pitching, which is kind of what we're doing right now, that's very intriguing because that obviously gets him in front of Vladimir Guerrero, and that's a spot you want to be. So right now, Loperfido, very good addition at the $18 price point. Kobe Mayo, we talked about. Keegan Aiken, we talked about. Higashioka as a second catcher for $7. He's had injuries, and every time he seemingly gets going, it seems like there's another injury. But right now, he's healthy enough. Last 7 games, 3 home runs, 5 RBIs, 7 runs scored. Got 6 home runs his last 17 games. Blazing right now. It's just that he's in and out of the lineup, and he's dealt with some injuries. Fine second catching option right now. Dalen Lyle for $5. Cole Sands for $2. Again, that's an astute addition for $2. Cole Sands, nice move there by Colton Wolfman and Stern. And then Curtis Mead. Curtis Mead has been a big-time disappointment. So much of a disappointment, in fact, that he was traded by the Tampa Bay club to the White Sox. The White Sox lost Miguel Vargas to the injured list, which means Curtis Mead's probably going to play every day. And, he's not even 25 years old now. He was a top 50, if not top 40 prospect in all of baseball heading into last season, Curtis Mead. He's got a pretty good hit tool, certainly has power. He has done absolutely nothing at the big league level. He's got a 629 OPS here in 111 games. So he's done absolutely nothing. But the pedigree there is impressive. His time on the farm this season, he had 3 home runs and, hitting 300 in his 16 games of action, which is pretty good work. You look at his numbers last year in the minors, he hit 288 with 13 home runs in 91 games. Curtis Mead can hit. The White Sox have 0 reason not to play him every day the rest of the way. He is also an excellent addition at $1. Am I adding him in a 10 or 12 team league? Nah, no. But in a deeper league, 14, 15 like this, not a bad way to go as we see here. Chris D says, welcome back, Ray. Well, thank you, Chris. With Misiorwski on the IL, Sandy Alcantara's on the waiver wire. Would you pick him up? He's been pitching well lately. Yeah, the rankings again will be updated today at fantasyguru.com. So I can't tell you, Chris, if there's someone better than Sandy Alcantara on the waiver wire. I'm going to doubt that is. I'm really surprised that he is on the waiver wire. He shouldn't be on the waiver wire. And really, he really shouldn't be on the waiver wire. And should be on the waiver wire in a 10-team league. You're starting 5 guys, maybe not. But his last 4 starts, 3.9 ERA, 1.3 WHIP. That's fine. He's been much better his last 2 starts. Still having a hard time finding the strikeout. But he's somebody that I think down the stretch should take the ball every 5 games for the Marlins. He spoke after the trade deadline about not wanting to get traded. He didn't. I think Sandy Alcantara is a very good addition for you, Chris. Yes, good direction to go there. A couple other moves here in this FSGA league before we talk about Tout Wars. Cody Clemens for $1, Brian Hayes for $1, Edwin Yacida for $1. I'm not surprised Peter Fairbanks didn't get traded by Tampa Bay. I'm a little surprised he's been healthy. So he's had a long track record of missing time. And you got to look at him and say there's a likelihood of him getting hurt down the stretch. If that's the case, Edwin Yoshida, whose numbers are not good this season, admittedly, massive strikeout total, 70 punch-outs in 50 innings. His ERA, his last 9 outings, is 1.3. His whip is 0.7, and he's got 23 strikeouts in 13 innings. So if you're looking in the Brian Abreu, Edwin Yoshida zone for one of these setup guys that brings a ton of strikeouts, it's pitching well, is producing good ratios, and's got a chance to potentially pick up a save or two down the road with the opportunity to get more if the top guy goes down, Yoshida obviously falls right into that mix. He's a very good addition as well for $1. Okay, finally, let's talk about Tout Wars. This is the 15-team mixed league that I won last season. I believe I'm in 3rd place. Yes, I am in 3rd place right now. Ryan Boyer's in 1st. Greg Jewett's in 2nd. I am in 3rd. I've been sitting in 3rd for 2 months now. The last 2 years I've been in this league, I finished 2nd and 1st. Jokingly said before the season began, I think, I'll probably finish 3rd this year. Well, I'm sitting in 3rd right now. We'll see how that goes. You can see there I made multiple moves here. I had Samuel Basallo. I was waiting on Samuel Basallo. I mean, he could be called up here in the second half of the month, because then you can, the team doesn't have to worry about, rookie stuff and all that kind of stuff. So they could wait till August 15th, potentially call him up there, because then the player doesn't lose their rookie eligibility for next season. You wait till after August 15th. So we might see a bunch of prospects called up August 16th, 17th. At the same time, Kobe Mayo, we just talked about by the Orioles, he's got to play every day. He's on the 40-man already and all that kind of stuff. He's got to play every day. They didn't trade Ryan Mountcastle. I assume they're going to play him every day. So that Basallo, I don't know where he fits. Dylan Beavers is the guy that I saw reporting on this morning. There might even be a better chance that Dylan Beavers is called up before Basallo, because obviously you just don't have a spot for Basallo. Beavers, you can put him in the outfield. So I dropped Basallo and I added Kefas, who we talked about earlier. We'll hope he plays every day, or at least against all righties for the Guardians. There's obviously an opportunity there for him to be the full-time guy, full-time player for this team. Let's hope that happens. By the way, he was hitting 300 down on the farm. I don't think I said this earlier. He was hitting 300 on the farm, 390 on base percentage, 539 slugging. And those numbers are actually a little bit low for him. He's really hit very well down in the minor leagues. Top 10 prospect for the Guardians, the 23-year-old lefty slugger. So I picked him up for $138. I got Kobe Mayo for $131. My assumption, which is incorrect, my assumption was that Kefas, because he was the more recent call-up, would be more expensive. It wasn't the case. So I got them both. That's great. I had money. This is the one league. Let me see if I can pull it up. This is the one league where I have money. I don't know where to look here. I had $569 of my $1,000 to spend. As you can see here, I spent $210 of the $560. I'm going for it a little bit here with these young guys. In this league, I forgot to mention this too. This is $1,000. You have to add, whoever you add has to go into your lineup. You can't add players for $0 here. This league is an on-base percentage instead of batting average league. In terms of the pitching side of things, it's innings pitched over wins and solds over saves. By the way, speaking of solds, EIEIO says for solds, Yoshida. Yeah, Yoshida's absolutely an option there. He's got 15 holds already on the year. The Tampa Bay, they're not necessarily winning a ton of games right now. They're struggling a little bit here. But, it's Yoshida, Jax, and Fairbanks. There is a chance if Fairbanks were to go down with injury that they might turn to Griffin Jax as their closer. That is certainly a possibility. So it's not like adding Yoshida now guarantees you saves if Fairbanks goes down. It could be both Yoshida and Jax. They could even get Clevenger involved a little bit here too. So, but yeah, Yoshida's definitely, he's been pitching great. He's certainly an option, EIEO in a sold league. The last guy I added here in Tout Wars, the reason I made these moves, by the way, is because I lost Jacob Wilson to the DL. I lost Nolan Arenado to the DL in this 15-team mixed league. Mayo comes in. He takes over third base there. I've had Paul Goldschmidt, who's really been struggling here of late, added Kefas, so he'll replace Goldschmidt in my lineup this week as the corner infield spot. And then I was able to add Spencer Horwitz. So I moved Mason Wynn to shortstop from the middle infield spot, put Spencer Horwitz in the middle infield spot. Horwitz had a huge weekend here against the Rockies. Not surprising, it's the freaking Rockies hitting home runs, doing all that kind of stuff. You look at Horowitz, he's a guy that we talked about a lot here in the preseason, started slowly because of injury, wasn't even on the field. So he wasn't on the field because of injury, and then he started slowly as well. But he likely qualifies at second base and first base in all leagues. He's only played first base this year, but we can worry about that next year. Right now, he qualifies at second base, or he should. He's in his last 6 games, got a couple home runs, 8 RBIs. Going back the last 4 weeks, he's hitting .289 with an .840 OPS. He's got 16 RBIs in 22 games. And remember, this is an on-base percentage league. In the last 3 weeks, he's got a .420 on-base percentage, which again is huge in this setup. And this is something that we talked about in the start of the season with Horowitz. A nice player up the middle who can take a walk, a better option in OBP than batting average leagues, and maybe somebody can help because of his positional flexibility as well in points leagues, depending upon your setup there. Don't expect the power we saw over the weekend to continue. A lot of that was obviously Coors Field and the bad pitching with the Colorado. But he's getting on base. Again, a .420 on-base percentage the last 3 weeks. Horowitz is not a bad addition for those of you in deeper leagues. All right, so there we go. There's the look at that. Where's my backup? There we go. There's the tiki bar behind me. Look at that. Oh yeah, wish I was there right now. By the way, that's the Mike High in Santa Cruz. For those wondering, that bar behind me there, it spins, so it goes extremely slowly. So it probably takes, I'm guessing, 20 minutes for it to go around. Maybe 30 minutes. It takes a long time, but it actually moves. So you're slowly just moving around. It's really cool. So you can, about half the time you're eating, you see the ocean. About half the time you're eating, you're looking at the decor. So really kind of cool. Brandon A says, welcome back, Ray. Hope you had some great time away. Let's go. We did have a good time. I talked about at the start, Brandon. It was a lot of fun out in the forest, out in the ocean, whales, trees, dogs, aquariums. We did the whale watching out off Monterey. I did the whale watching out off Monterey. I think we saw 6 humpback whales. We saw some dolphins as well. Really cool. We saw 2 mothers and calves with the humpback whales. So that was pretty neat. I did post some photos. You can find me on social medias at The Ray Flowers. If you check out my Instagram account at The Ray Flowers, there's some photos there for those of you that care. Also got a chance to go to the boardwalk. Threw up a picture there of me on the Ferris wheel with the Dipper behind me. The 4th or 5th, I think it's 4th oldest roller coaster in the United States. It's over 100 years old. It was 100 years old last year. So that's pretty cool. There at the beach and on the boardwalk, excuse me. They were actually playing Despicable Me. They had a giant once a week. I think it's once a week. Maybe it's once a month. They put a giant blow-up screen on the beach. And they were playing Despicable for Me. But according to my niece, that's the worst of the 4, so we didn't actually watch it there. But it was at the beach anyway. It was cool. So we had a lot of fun. Saltwater taffy, all that kind of good stuff. And, of course, the tiki bar that you can see behind me there. Leave it to Ray to find a spinning tiki bar. Welcome back and cheers. Yeah, Eric, sorry we weren't able to get you there. But, yeah, it's really cool. It's not just the bar that spins. The room spins. It's a circular room. The bar is obviously the centerpiece. But around the bar are probably maybe 6 to 8 tables, like 2-person tables. So the whole thing goes. So it's super cool. And I should have brought a mug. I didn't even bring a mug. I should have brought a mug. Got a mug there too. A tiki guy holding on to a, what am I trying to say? Lighthouse. Pretty cool. So anyway, I would encourage people to check out the Mike High if you got the opportunity because it's pretty cool. And make sure you don't sit. There's a regular tiki bar on one end. Go to the other end and sit at the spinning bar. Okay. So thanks, everybody. Really appreciate you joining us today. That's the show for today. We'll be back tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on Fantasy Sports Daily. Remember, we'll go back to the normal schedule this week, and we should have that moving forward. So that means Justin Fensterman on Wednesdays. Tomorrow is Tuesday. Armando Marcelo will join me. We'll do baseball for half the show, football for half the show with Armando. Justin will be in on Wednesday. Thursday, it'll be me and Tyler Beaker. And then Friday, it'll be me and Russell Clay. Those guys all join us about 30 minutes in, about 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Go to fantasyguru.com. Click that subscribe tab in the top right corner. You can still get signed up for the baseball products, seasonal DFS wagering, all 3. One low price. Send a note to support@fantasyguru.com. Say Ray says it's $50. Give it a shot. Support@fantasyguru.com. And sign up for the football package. Constantly updated, constantly changing. Rankings, articles, podcasts, Discord rooms, live streams, All of that available over at fantasyguru.com. So thanks for joining me today. We will see you tomorrow at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here on Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by fantasyguru.com. Hope your week starts well. Look for the rankings for seasonal baseball later today over at fantasyguru.com. I am Ray Flowers. I will not be having a tiki drink because I got to go do those rankings, but hopefully everyone had a good weekend, and let's get after it moving forward here on Fantasy Sports Daily, powered by FG. Take care.